Are we ready to
Oh
go?
yeah. Oh yeah.
Hooray!
Okay, good, because I hit record. How we doing? Let's go. We're talking
Oh
about
God!
kobolds,
You're
right?
right. Oh shit.
I just don't need to tell y'all to start recording, because then y'all just make it a race. Alright.
Fucking, Kobolds.
Yeah, kobolds.
Yeah, you guys start. I'm not interested. Go ahead.
I
Yeah,
don't
just
care.
go to the corner and read a comic or something, Logan. I think me and Mario got
Go read
this.
Max. go read the Max.
Yeah,
Fucking.
yeah.
I like kobolds.
So I was really wanting to know y'all's interest in them, because kobolds are
Mm-hmm.
something that I feel like through proxy, just like my friends that really like them, like you, Mario, and Rymac being one of them who loves kobolds, but
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I never really use them as much just because I feel like they kind of occupy the same space in my head of just silly little guy, but I like using goblins better for that. So when I use
Yeah.
when I use kobolds, I used them more like as kind of like just little dragon minions, because I just always thought that was fun. I like that aspect of kobolds where they see dragons as godlike beings.
Mhm. I've got a
In
tiny
funny
little
way- Oh, yeah.
monologue, but if you want to, go ahead,
No,
Mario.
I was going to say, in a funny way, this relates back to something that we were talking about earlier,
Oh.
gooning,
Oh.
which is
I
basically
had to stop
Oh,
myself from
kobolds.
saying goon.
because
They're
I'm like,
dragon
we're like,
goons.
well, honestly, they're little dragon goons because I love how kobolds like have that connection to dragons. This is also why I kind of prefer the lizard kobolds over like the
Dungeons
goblin
and Gooners, as we say.
Dungeons and Gooners. But it's like it is very much. You have these little kobolds that are like, "You got it, boss. I."
Yeah, that
Yeah,
kind
the big dragon. I'm a little guy.
There's-
Yeah, I was gonna say.
You got it.
I play a titular kobold in a live game that Jocat runs.
Oh.
That we're very near the end of.
It's like,
Saviors, Heroes, I forget the name, but it has a Linthy in it.
part of a limb.
ELY and the rest of the letters. Well,
Yeah, Ethereum. I know that one.
yeah, Ethereum.
Yeah.
I think
Elon
it's,
Musk lines.
I didn't know that was still going. That's awesome.
yeah, it's super fun. I play a kobold whose name is Word, WURD, and his origin, and for that whole angle is because he wants to be a subtype of kobold, like an Erd, which is a URD, and the
Oh.
W on top of that
Yeah.
has connotations where he's a wannabe Erd. I don't know if you've ever heard any sort of compound like that before, but
That's the
his-
most clever thing I ever heard of Logan.
thank you so much. And he has just sort of risen to be this king boss who really, really wants to have the power of a dragon, and he can't have it because he's not generally worthy. I think he has become worthy as of this last session, but he's a piece of shit.
Oh man.
I
Because
forgot
I've
what my
been waiting
rant
for
was
y'all to
even.
finish that one, just to marathon it all at once, so I'm not just. I have too
Yeah,
many things I'm watching weekly.
Are the
we were-
episodes released?
We were right in the middle of it when Joe Cat sort of dove away from social media, and he is coming back. I think he's making his comeback, or he has. But he has been uploading them
You heard it
not
here
publicly, but they're a part of the playlist that you can go to Joe Cat's channel and watch.
Okay.
And yeah, it's been super fun. We have maybe 5 sessions left before it's done. And I recently, my character who has been striving to become God, learned that being God is not about yourself and your power. It's this whole. It's a fun emotional thing. All the characters have had crazy arcs, but
It's about the real heart of a Lymphy was the friends we made along the way.
oh yeah, no, it's actually a genocided race and their magic that was taken and strangled and used the wrong way. That's the heart of Olympi.
Yeah. You
So we're-
also heard that here first, folks.
Yeah, we're trying to free those sad boys. But separate monologue. The kobold, the word is actually the same thing as the Undermountain people, which is where fairies come from and where goblins and dwarves and gnomes all come from. It's sort of like brownies, or what's the word? Boggarts, hobgoblins, pixies. They're all the same thing.
Troglodytes.
Kobold, I think so. I think troglodyte is derived from people who come from like a place called Trog or whatever. It's like a dumb idiot who comes from a specific place.
Yeah,
I
good
think that's where that
old-fashioned
comes from.
racism.
Yeah, they are
Found
relatively
ability.
Scandinavian or Irish, but I think the word is German, and derived from kobold is kobold, that blue little rock.
Yeah.
So it's just little rock people that come from the ground, and D&D took them and twisted them into dragons, which is super super
Yeah.
fun.
Okay.
I actually
I love that adaptation. I don't think they
Yeah,
could have done
before I
anything
say-
better.
Before I say anything, what were you gonna say, Chuck?
I was about to say that's interesting because I've always assumed they were just originally at least some kind of lizard-esque, but because that's how I was introduced to them. But then I started thinking differently when I watched Delicious in Dungeon, and they had kobolds be dog people, and they're really cool in that.
Oh yeah,
Well, it's
look
like
that up.
because I was gonna bring that up because like old D&D art
Mhm.
depicts kobolds as like little lizardy kind of dog people, and that's where because that was a big thing a while ago where because I made a stupid little like nonsense video, but the whole reason I did that was because there are like people discovering because of Delicious in Dungeon, what the heck? Why are they showing kobolds as dogs? That's crazy. And it's like, well, that's just due to really old D&D did that, and apparently
Yeah.
in Japan
Oh,
that's like
yeah.
a thing that's stuck.
They're
And,
even in second edition, they were just ugly goblins. They were gross,
Yeah.
but they were
And
goblins. Yeah.
Yeah,
if anything,
I remember seeing
Oh,
this
go ahead.
picture before, and I just always assumed that their snout was just little shrunken. I never thought of it being like a dog snout.
I really like the
Yeah.
miniature critters.
They got them little kobold jowls.
Yeah. That nearly makes it just more odd, though, it being like kind of a mix between a mammal and a reptile there.
I was slightly wrong about the origin of their name. The kobold is named after them because it is
Oh.
medieval miners blamed the sprite for the poisonous and troublesome nature of the typical arsenicals. So I guess it's an arsenic laced mineral, a cobolite and smaltite. Who the fuck calls it smaltite? What the fuck?
Imagine just approaching your boss at the end of the day, and it's
That's what I call my pussy. Am I right?
I'm trying to give me some of that small time.
I keep trying to get y'all away from me. Where I'm going, God dang it, even you'll keep bringing me back. I'm just imagining like having to tell your boss at the end of the day, and it's like, well, Foreman, we got down in that dang old mine there, and what do you know? Kobolds. What can we do? Kobolds ruined
Yeah.
the mine. The mine's sour now.
Yes, the mine's sour. My minerals are sour.
The earth's
It
gone
does.
sour now.
It
Tastes like
pollutes
copper in there.
other
No, but not
minerals
real
in the
copper, good
area.
stuff.
That's
So, yeah.
that's actually really
It
interesting.
literally does that. So they're like, oh, the kobolds cursed our fucking tin and our zinc and our copper.
I'm sorry, boss. You're going to have to live with your iron deficiency. We ain't find nothing down there.
Boss, we gotta return the slab. The kobolds are angry.
The kobolds are turning the friggin' minerals gay.
Boss, we told you not to dig in sacred land. The kobolds have come to take our resources.
You guys starting dug too deep.
Boss, remember when you walked into that big circle of mushrooms and you heard the spirits go, whoa? That's why our minerals are killing our boys. Killing our goons.
They're stopping the goons. We gotta stop.
Goons can't mine, boss.
Goons
You
can't
get
mine
back to
them.
that mine and you dig for that lead there, boy. Nothing bad comes from lead.
I'm sorry, I hate to detract again, but I think there's a type of kobold derived from, the kobolds who are like household spirits, called the Klabotaman, or Klabotaman, that lives on ships and helps sailors. And I think that's the thing in One Piece that repairs the Going Merry. I
literally,
think that's
yeah.
a kobold.
Oh.
That is basically that same concept.
Okay. So I fuck with kobolds. They're at least a 4 out of 10. Or 4 out of 5.
I think
We ain't even at
Yeah.
the end yet. You spoiled it.
there's a point with I guess there's a level of that where I was curious what you guys like what would you do to use kobolds to separate them more from goblins.
If there
Like-
was a kobold right in front of you.
If there was a kobold right in front of you, how would you kiss him?
Oh, open mouth, light tongue. I really like, and it's kind of the way that I've always seen them, where goblins are not accepted in society and they're bad at hiding. So they can't like have a secret. They have to have these outpost barbaric clans where they set up traps in the woods and they capture people on main roads. Kobolds are not like that. They're not as obvious. They don't like enslaving people. They generally like to be left alone because, unlike goblins, they know that they can't win. Goblins will find ways to win. Kobolds will find ways to lose but win. So they are the perfect type of creature, sort of like the alligators in the sewers, where they can live underneath a city, and they'll be like the rats from Ratatouille, where they'll take enough, but not like enough to get noticed. So the kobolds mesh with existing cities much better than goblins, and I think that's kind of the niche that they fill, where they are present, but they are not a danger directly. They are miscreants. They're mischievous. They're not. They don't have your best interest in mind, but they're sort of like Scandinavian spirits. I've been watching Hilda with my partner a lot, and it's actually, if you watch all the way through it, it's super fun. It touches on a lot of interesting myths. The movie actually has doppelgangers as a thing, where it's like a troll baby, and you're like, "Fuck, I have to take care of this. This is a piece of shit. Took my daughter." It's fun, but yeah, kobolds, hobgoblins, I think they fit better as like guys who will steal pies from windowsills, but they're not gonna steal people.
You know what I think is really the difference there between kobolds and goblins that I feel like I realized myself? Is goblins are the epitome of little man syndrome. Kobolds, they're content with just their place in life and just want to survive.
God
Napoleon
made me
syndrome.
fall because he knew I was too powerful.
That's goblins. That's
Yeah, because
like,
goblins,
we win.
they want to enslave and beat other races to prove they're better, but kobolds, they're not trying to prove anything. They're just trying to live at that point.
Yeah, I feel like my goblins in the next setting that I build or whatever should look like what are the Mexican Chihuahuas.
Oh,
They should look like Chihuahuas because they're fucking angry and they think they're much bigger than they are, and that gets them quarter in nature. When you're super confident in nature, you can like black bears. They're pussies.
Oh yeah,
But they're strong as fuck. So if you're a person and you start yelling at them, even if they have their kids with them, they'll be like, "Oh, sorry," because they'd rather like be safe.
Oh no, that's
Chihuahuas are not like that. They're like, I will fight you, and I think I'm gonna win, which is already that's like that charisma argument.
Yeah.
Where you're gonna say, "I'm sorry."
That's my favorite, one of my favorite ever Florida moments I had when I had a vacation in Florida, and everyone inside of a dive bar were eating at's freaking out, and all of us go outside, and it's just a giant black bear eating out of the dumpster like an oversized raccoon, and the waitress goes out to like, "Go on, get."
Mm-hmm.
And the bear just looks at her, then just hops out of the dumpster and just lumbers off into the woods.
I like that video. The bear tries to leave the guy's backyard, and it like hits the wood, and then swings and kicks in the whole gate, like the whole fence. They're bigger than they realize, and that's kind of the thing with goblins is they're smaller than they accept.
Yeah,
it's fucking. I think something that I do really like with current D&D kobolds of how they're represented is that general dragon aspect to it, because there is also that is kind of what I feel that charisma comes from, where it's like deep down inside, even though they're kind of like diluted, they have like that dragon essence to them. So it's like in their heart of hearts, there's this weird thing of just like, oh yeah, I'm gonna be like a little tricky fucker because I should be better than you. I'm just not. It's a fucking I don't know. I like playing into that thought. It's like I like that idea. It makes me think of something like Tucker's Kobolds, where it's like the.
It rings a bell.
Tucker's Kobolds is basically having a having a setup of there's a bunch of kobolds that will like it is the epitome of the idea of you walked into my house and now you're fucked kind of thing. So it's just like you'll have like kobolds that set up a bunch of traps and shit and they'll just like fuck you over. Like I tried
I did a video on kobold tactics, not knowing what Tucker's Kobolds was, and I hit that exactly on the head. That's crazy. I
tried to do something like that recently in my game to my players, and they like sidestepped it because somebody just basically used what the fuck was it?
Mold Earth.
That was part of it too, but it was fucking Pass Without a Trace. They used Pass Without a Trace on like a big group of them, and I rolled 3 checks of the kobolds trying to notice them, and they rolled like fucking awful shit, and it was like a thing of like, god damn it. But there was like gonna be a trap of big enemies are gonna show up at the start. There's gonna be a little opening into this little dungeon area, and it's way too small for the big enemies. So I was thinking, okay, tactic here. Players are probably gonna go in there. The moment they go in there, there are kobolds in the walls that are gonna start stabbing them with like shivs and like shooting them. And then on top of that, like I put like foreshadowing of, oh well, you're outside, you smell like pork being cooked. You smell like that bacony kind of smell in the air. And there is a point where that was like leading up to, as soon as you step in this hallway, the door is going to close and they're going to start pouring grease down the hall, and someone is going to light it, and it was going to act like heat metal, like just going off every round. And it was just gonna be this thing of like kobolds stabbing you. They're also like they're on like a 5-foot high platform, so the grease is unaffecting them, so they're just in the walls.
Yeah, I want to build on that because that's what I love about kobolds over goblins. Is goblins will not accept that they're weaker, and they will build their tactics around sort of that proud presumption that they can catch you and fuck with you, and they'll like get this victory over you, and they'll stab you, and they'll be like, "Hey, I won. I'm the same as you, right?" And you're like, "Yes." Goblins or kobolds, they don't. They're like, "No, I'm worse than you," and that makes me so much stronger because I know like there are none of these huge monsters, dragons, fucking genies, mind flayers, anything. Even beholders will not think like kobolds and like build these specific traps around. No matter what, I know the world around you will kill you if I move it right. So like they're gonna be the rocks fall, everyone dies guy, not because the rock fell, but because the kobold bumped it.
That nearly feels like the kind of explanation they have for goblins in the Goblin Slayer anime, where goblins like are well aware of they're weaker and dumber, so they take advantage of that, and also the fact that people underestimate them.
Yeah, them recognizing their fears makes them kind of fearless compared to goblins.
Yeah, which I also wanted to point out something I found on here when I was looking through. It says kobolds may domesticate dire weasels and wild boars to serve as guardians to their lairs. And I have never been so annoyed that there's a link to dire weasels, and when you click on it, it is an empty page.
I don't think there's any stat for dire weasels.
I think that would just be a giant weasel then.
Why dire? What the fuck? Okay.
Yeah, because this one want to know like where are the dire weasels and why are they being kept from us?
That's so funny.
I would assume at that point I would just probably use a giant weasel, which is also very like looking at its stats. It's like it's very anything. Underwhelming. Challenge rating 1. Challenge rating fucking an 8th.
Is it overwhelming because it's paired with kobolds?
I mean, you could fucking go the route of because that was my tactic, and that was also a thing of that ended up fucking things up was my players just have really high AC, but the idea was, oh, I'm gonna have like 30 kobolds fucking firing at like one person, and one of them's bound to get a nat 20. It didn't happen.
Sorry, I want to point out here, I googled what can weasels do, and the people ask was, what are the abilities of a weasel?
What are the strengths of a weasel? How powerful is weasel?
That genuinely says they are skilled climbers, swimmers, and runners. I don't think kobolds can swim, so it'd be cool to like see kobolds like going in because in D&D kobolds also have sunlight sensitivity. They're not good above ground.
Yeah.
So to like see one riding around in like an underground lake on a weasel that's just swimming like crazy, I don't know what they're capable of. I don't know what that weasel's carrying.
Well, the logic there, I'm pretty sure, is the fact that weasels are tunnel creatures. So,
Yeah, they are.
yeah. So I imagine that's the idea behind it. Is they're in the burrows with the kobolds, and
So they could help tunnel and like speed up the process. That makes sense. I like that. And if they're giant, the kobolds can run after them. So it's like beholders making their own dungeon, sort of, but the kobolds like guiding them, like a mole. What's the thing in Adventure Time? The moles that taught Toph? Mole.
Wait,
Badger mole.
Yeah.
Badger mole.
Yeah.
You said Adventure Time, not Avatar.
Yeah, you said Adventure Time.
I did? What
You
the?
reference Adventure
Yeah,
Time
that's
so
what-
much.
that's
it's
why I was
poisoned
like-
you,
I was
man.
like,
I do.
I was like, you did Avatar.
Yeah,
I genuinely have this.
Because you started
awful-
describing that, and then you said Toph. I'm like,
Yeah, no, Toph is not.
Yeah.
am
I
the
have
one that made
encyclopedic knowledge of Adventure Time where if I need a clip for a video, I know the name of the episode and I know the 3-minute bracket that it happens in,
Fuck yeah.
no matter what.
I wish I had that Kill Tony clip handy of just the guy saying, "You are autistic."
Test me on that. Test me on that.
Okay.
Test you on.
What was the episode where the hot dog wished for a box?
Oh, that's I think that's the Labyrinth is the name of the episode.
That is the Labyrinth.
And when he wishes for the box, that would be around minute 9. Because they get through the whole thing, and then actually it would probably be around minute 10 because he wishes for the box. A couple other people make wishes. Jake wishes for a sandwich after that, and then they get the psychic tandem war elephant, and that's the end of the episode where he says you're supposed to die.
This is gonna be the one episode where it's edited and it's like placed. and that clip is placed in, and it's like, what the fuck, Logan?
Am I right? Is it the Labyrinth?
It's the labyrinth.
It
Yeah,
is the Labyrinth episode.
when the
yeah,
hot
it's
dog
100%
knights
the
get
Labyrinth
lost in the
episode.
labyrinth.
Yep. I'm gonna say minute 10, a little after.
That is.
I can actually find that. Let me see.
Hang on, I gotta just. Good job.
Thank you. Mario, do you want to give me one?
Well, the one that I was gonna give is way too easy. I was gonna say like, oh, when does the Lich say fall? But that one's like
Oh yeah.
Well, oh fuck.
I tried
That's
to go
Escape
for
from the
obscure one.
Citadel, minute 8, probably.
probably.
That is a superpower, man. That's nuts.
Uh,
I can barely remember what I ate for breakfast this morning.
I don't
well,
have that.
me too. I know Adventure Time shit. That's it.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like a.
Is it the
I've
Labyrinth?
been
Are you
there.
sure?
I'm pretty sure it's the Labyrinth episode because that was the one where they got the fucking elephant. Isn't it called?
Yeah,
that?
but the name of the episode.
Hey,
Labyrinth Adventure Time.
oh. I know, because I was watching a movie I liked yesterday with some friends, me and Kristen's, and they're
It's called The Limit, I believe, not the Labyrinth, unless I'm
Limit?
wrong.
Yeah,
Yeah, The Limit.
The Limit
on
and
Mission
Beneath-
Save Soldiers of the Hot Dog Princess.
fuck, you're right. The Limit and Underneath the Skin were ones that I always forgot. Or The Real You is also one where it's like the title has nothing to do with the
Oh.
episode.
Okay, when I googled Labyrinth, it popped up like just a location,
Yeah.
but it looked like
Mm.
it was the name.
Because yeah, I thought that was the episode name too, and then I clicked on it, and it's like, oh, the Labyrinth is a location featured in The Limit.
Okay, I was slightly wrong. Jake wishes for the sandwich at minute 10. They wish for the box at around minute 8:30.
That's
Oh,
So-
you were right the
Really
first time. Actually, you
yeah.
doubted yourself.
that's still incredibly impressive. I ain't going to say nothing.
That's still within the 3-minute mark that you gave
Yeah.
yourself.
I
mean,
did.
yeah,
I was watching
I'll
Train to
take it.
Busan, a movie I loved yesterday, and I was remember
Really good.
Chris and I were hyping up our couple friend about it, and we were just like, oh yeah, a lot of these characters are great, and I was like, yeah, that I was about to say that kind of disheveled guy though. He doesn't really do. I don't really like him much. And my wife's like, "What are you talking about? He's great in this movie." And I was like, and then I watched the movie and realized he's one of the people that really helped everyone in the end. I'm like, oh crap. I don't even know my own movie I like.
Just not recognizing side characters' arcs and stuff. It's fun. I don't know. That's why I like to watch good things a couple times. Train to Busan.
Yeah, same. I
Fantastic.
enjoy rewatching things.
All right. But back to Kobolds.
Tangential.
Kobold.
Yeah.
Kobold. So, I like the dumb dragon connection with them because that also plays into very fun, like, little thematic things. Like, I like the idea of there's like a specific type of kobold that, like, in its stat block it says like, oh, they could be connected to a specific dragon, so they'll have like certain resistances or some shit.
I think that's Urds. I think so.
Really?
Could be Urds. There's also like a specific like
Kobold
warrior
Inventor.
kobold one.
There's Kobold Inventor, and there's the one that's a draconic origin. Basically Kobold, which that's
Kobold Dragon Shield.
A dragon
Kobold
what?
Dragon Shield is what I'm thinking.
Oh,
Kobold
okay.
Dragon Shield. They're like little warrior kobolds.
Yeah.
They're challenge rating 1, a whopping 1.
Whoa. That's
But
a
they have
big
like
kobold.
cool shit of like they scream really loud, and if there's kobolds that are frightened around them, they'll like stop being frightened or paralyzed.
That's really strong.
Yeah.
Just like playing Baldur's Gate, the ability to remove fear is really big. Also, as you guys suggested, I'm making a video on sanity, and fear ties into that. So that's big.
So,
There's also a dragon rot kobolds.
Ooh,
Right.
that sounds cool,
I
actually.
haven't heard of one, actually. But Mario, are you saying the Dragon Warrior has a dragon shout?
Yes, he has he does the little Fusro Da. Fucking,
Kung Fu
I love it.
Kungu can go Fusro
I love
Da.
the name of it too, because it's just like Heart of the Dragon. It's like the idea of like, because it's like this idea of just like that dragon connection. This little shit kobold has harnessed. He's like harnessed this ability of like, no, I am the shit. He's the one that can wrangle the other ones around them. He's like, no, don't get scared. I'm here. We can do this. We're strong.
Cool.
I like that.
He's the anime protagonist of his group.
I mean, that's what word is.
Yeah.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
Yeah. I honestly I think Kobold Inventor is just one of my favorite little guys, little goons to throw into a group of enemies, just because they're such a fun concept.
Yeah.
Even
Just building on that for a second. They are great because they work in the same way that hags do. They will take the unexpected and like the kind of stuff that you would never think would even come close to working, because they don't work on basic mechanics. They'll be like, yeah, I'm throwing a lot of frogs at you because they're covered in oil and I will set them on fire. And you're like, that's not, huh?
Who
So,
who let you in?
Yeah.
one of my favorite NPCs I made was just a kobold named Wrench that ended up in Avernus somehow and ended up becoming a Hellfire engine mechanic and was making just the worst, absolutely just crazy Hellfire engines that just worked, but were also the most unexpected, so no one knew how to handle them.
I love that. A little car mechanic who's like tying bee bombs to stuff. That's like the Speed Racer movie, the live action.
Yeah. But,
I love that movie. It's one of my favorite movies.
but yeah, just stuff like the skunk cage amped up where there's a ton of skunks and he just drive in front of a car and just like open up a valve, a ton of skunks are just already pointing at you, just
Oh God.
just crop dust a bunch of enemies with him.
That's actually cool, like collecting skunk sacks for hell to just spew demons, and like they're like,
I like the idea of just having like these wacky little shitheads where it's like the inventor really capitalizes on the kobold doing the best with what they've got. Like it's like they're very like low down kind of they don't they're not afraid of getting their hands dirty, but they don't have a lot with them, so it's just like straight up, oh yeah, I'm just gonna pick up a skunk and I'm gonna piss it off and like have it in a
Yeah,
cage.
super
Like, I'm gonna
resourceful.
throw it at you. Fucking throws wasps at you. Fucking-
Yeah, because I want
So
to
the
say what they have is like a beehive, a skunk in a cage, a scorpion tied to the end of a stick. It's a live scorpion that he gets close enough to you to where it just pokes you.
Yeah.
They're a random vial acid they somehow got, and what was the other one? I think it literally is they just throw a beehive like a hand grenade.
According to the first edition monster manual, they could speak Goblin and Orcish, and they were considered a goblinoid.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
That would make sense.
Yeah.
I think in third edition, they were like, yeah, we're actually dragon goblins, which I guess that's the main question is like, them being draconic, they don't get anything from that in their stat block. They get nothing. They have like sunlight sensitivity, so they stick around in the dark. It's sort of weird, like, why are they even dragons? And I guess what should they get from that? Because they don't get anything.
If I would give them anything, it would be like resistances. Like it's like
That'd be fucking cool. Yeah, just
Yeah,
like
yeah.
little kobolds who are different colors, and like a little dark kobold that runs up to you and stabs you in the ankles. Like you spew poison on him, he's like, and like,
Well,
yeah,
it's like-
that's cool.
Yeah.
it's like the idea of in my setting, something that I've had with like legitimate like dragon kobolds. It's a thing of, oh, kobolds and dragonborn are literally just the fact that dragons can mate with anything, and basically they will have the offspring of like, like dragonborn are still have like the most draconic kind of traits, and it's like over the line as they kind of lose or dilute it, they end up becoming like kobolds. So you have like these like little guys that are just these like these they barely have that like connection to draconic stuff, but I would probably give them like, maybe some of them could maybe spit like a little bit of fire or something like that, or have like a little bit of a breath attack. Other
You're
ones
saying they're like genetic offshoots?
yeah,
like
they're
third
like
generation
genetic
kind of thing?
offspring.
Okay.
Yeah, like third generation, where it's like dragonborn are like closest, and fucking
Yeah.
you have like
I hate that idea, but it's also funny to think that like a dragonoid in human form mates with a human or an orc, and then a dragonborn comes out, and then they mate with like
Yeah,
a halfling or
it's
a
basically
gnome,
like a
and there's a
half-dragon.
fucking kobold, and you're like, oh no,
No.
that's
It's like
that's
this
the
thing-
bad one.
because the idea would just be like, it's like
Bad.
as they kind of progress over the years, they kind of have less of that draconic kind of thing to them, because it's like a thing of like, you know, it's not like dragons being kind of, or at least for my setting, them being kind of scarce. It's not like everyone's having like offspring with a dragon, so it's like a thing of like, you know, you're gonna end up with a half dragon that'll be like closer to a dragon, and then maybe if they like mate with like another humanoid, they'll end up having like a dragonborn basically at that point. And then
Maybe
it's like,
cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know it. In my setting that I need to get back to, the Tesseract setting, the only way that you become a Dragonborn is by making a wish from a dragon. They have like a daily ability to do that, so
I
there's
remember
settlement
that.
around them. Yeah,
yeah, I like
And-
that.
I think the players were immune to that for whatever bumfuck reason, but that's a cool idea. To like, they're super scarce, and every single one of them you can ask, and they have a reason for why they're a Dragonborn. Which, in my current setting, that's what I do with Tieflings. You make a devil contract. That's the only way.
Yeah.
They don't mate with people. They don't need to. There's no reason to. There's not like.
Well-
Like with core D&D, everyone fucks everything all the time. Like, you know, in my world, they don't have to. You know, demons, they go fuck off with demons. They'll like lead you on, but
Yeah. I know.
It's the idea. Go ahead.
I know me. I got a lot of inspiration for Greek mythology, so that's why I like little elements of that. Obviously,
yeah,
it's
everything. Yeah, Zeus fucked every. He was. That's the thing with. Sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, but like Zeus
you're
turned
good.
into a goose, and then fucked someone else, and that made a person. So that just throws everything out the window.
yeah. So obviously, I'm doing it diluted. I just like that idea though of just like there being a traced route, and do you just see kind of hints of it going down the line? But because I kind of did the same thing, it was just like half dragons or dragonborns. The like descendants of those could be like kobolds and stuff like that. But I kind of had it manifest in various ways, like kind of like where just kind of like minor, just like they get like basically a dragon sneeze where it's only a 5-foot range. Get like a quick little puff of just like that.
I love that.
Yeah,
Just
so
a
very dialed
poison,
in.
like
Yeah, they can get resistance. They can really pure ones can have like Dragonborn Sorcerer kind of.
yeah,
There.
that makes sense. I like that.
It's
Yeah, so just stuff like that I kind of threw in there just because I thought it was fun, but also because I had that homebrew Warlock. I showed you Dragon Pack Warlock. Whenever they're tied to, they have like a dragon they work with, or dragons just using their own gains. Usually they'd have like their head of their clan or just like advisor or something like that be an actual Dragon Pack Warlock to kind of enact their will there.
Yeah, so that's another major thing that somehow Volo missed, which, like, because they are subsets of dragons, and I think we only have art of them being red dragons for some reason.
Yeah, like
it makes sense.
Ones.
A few.
I kind of.
No,
No, I'm agreeing with you in the sense of like they tend to go red. I want to have. I want to see like I want to see like a kobold that has like the black dragon horns, kind of. Like,
Yeah, which also kind of raises the question of like, would they? Because genetically, when it comes to just the natural perspective, like you have an offshoot of kobolds who are black dragon kobolds, and they form this sort of syndicate, and then you could have blue dragons over here, and they do the same thing.
Yeah.
Or even another thing I wanted to bring up was the good guy dragons as kobolds, the metallic dragons. Like, say you have a silver sect. I would want them to sort of mingle. And I think that would be a really fun history to have, like a settlement in sewers of a city where it's like, yeah, we're blue dragons and black dragons and we hang out because our parents fucking suck. And because, again, like a million things you could add to these. I love kobolds. The fact that they can swap genders, like they turn the friggin' frogs gay if they are the frogs. Okay. Yeah.
Doing like a clownfish kind of thing where
they can swap genders and they can mate just to increase their sect. Like they're just these small pockets that settle in areas, and they have these egg dens where like you watch over a bunch of these little eggs and they pop out, and you're kind of, I think in the core Volo rules they're designated like a specific role in the society, but that's the one problem with Volo is that all of them are like, yeah, we disregard the types of dragons. But that's such a fun question, and it adds this kind of intermingling of. So
I forgot that they could clownfish. That is, I do.
Yeah,
I do remember
is it clownfish?
It's another. It's basically it just means
cuttlefish as well, because that was the big thing in Jurassic World, where it's like, oh, the cuttlefish.
They basically have what is the term? It is
hetero. No.
Or was
hetero.
Invisible, or something like that.
Yeah, cuttlefish have camouflage. That's my favorite animal.
Okay, yeah.
We could do a whole fucking video on cuttlefish. I love those bitches. They can hypnotize too.
I can't remember if that one dinosaur's asexual or not. I felt like that was the thing in one Jurassic Park.
It could reproduce asexually. It was the prime like embodiment of nature. So it's like, yeah, I can make a million like Godzilla. I can camouflage myself like a cuttlefish, which in Age of Ultron, the guy who played Gollum, what's his name? Andy Serkis. Yeah.
Oh.
He did. He made a little like whoom whoom whoom. He called them disco lights.
The term is they are clownfish are hermaphroditic, so it's like a thing of like kobolds can
hermaphrodite. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is funny because that's a combination of Hermes and Aphrodite. Ooh. Oh. There was like a guy who had both bits.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. I learned that making the video about satyrs and Pan, who was like, actually, I hate that you have a penis, but you got that other shit too, and then they rocked it.
That kind of rocks.
Yeah. Hey Pan, he fucking sucks. I'm glad he's dead.
Burn in hell.
Have one in Hades, Pan. Thanks for your flute.
Okay. Thanks for Panic at the Disco, I guess.
It's not cited, but I think that Panic actually is derived from Pan.
Yeah, it is actually.
Yeah, because during the war between the gods and the Titans, Pan was like, and that fucked with the Titans. He just yelled and cried really loud, and everyone was like, "Oh, fuck that noise! That guy sucks."
I hate you,
He
actually.
perfected the brown note on his pan flute.
That's what he did, yeah. Which was also his girlfriend. He had to have his lips on that shit. Nasty motherfucker. Kobolds.
Something I really. Oh god.
Y'all are wild.
Something that we were touching on about like the idea of like like a lot of the races are just things born out of people fucking other things or something.
Yeah.
It's like
that
something
is
I
how
really
Earth
like.
Works.
Yes. Something I do like to play into sometimes as well is the idea of basically, at the end of the day, a lot of these things are like dragons and giants, for example. I kind of view them as plain touched creatures, where it's like more in the sense of like
they're like elemental spirits who are in tune with. I like that. Which, sorry, like, you mentioning them in tandem is like, what the fuck if like a dragon turned into a person and fucked a giant? How crazy would that thing be?
That could happen because dragons have like the shape-shifting ability. Like, if anything,
they can turn humanoid, and I think Fomorians. No, they're not humanoid, but yeah.
I like the idea because some like storm giants, for example, can turn into like a quintessence, and they can just become like a cloud.
Yeah,
but, it's like a thing of there is. I like stealing this from Dragonlance, but there is an idea of just the dragons can just kind of shapeshift into people, and like obviously you have like the metallics that can all do that, but I like using that for chromatics as well. And
it's weird that they don't have that. Yeah, they should.
But I like the idea of, because even in that book, there's it's a bit of a tangent, but there's a really fun point where like Takesis, basically Tiamat, assigns just a dude called Verminard as like a head leader thing, and he puts a red dragon underneath him, and the red dragon has to do everything that they say, and he does like a big dick flex moment where he's like, I want you in my office, but I need you to be smaller so that you can fit, and the red dragon's like, I'm fine how I am, and he's like, no, you're gonna be a human for right now. And it's like a moment of like him basically big dicking, because the idea behind it is chromatics can shapeshift. They don't like doing it because they view it as like a lower form,
like the last unicorn.
Yes,
that's cool.
It's like the thing of like they hate doing it, so he has like a hissy bitch moment where he like shapeshifts down into like a human dude, and he's like listening to him, and the whole time the dude's like, yeah, you listen to me because you're my fucking bitch. And but I like the idea of like plain touch stuff in that sense of like, you know, you'll have like.
There's like something from beyond the world that they can control. I like that it's not necessarily like that the 4 core outer elemental planes or like all the emotional planes. It is something that's literally untouchable that they're connected to, which is cool.
Like a Genasi could be.
Kind of, yeah. Those are plain touch to one of the 4, which I guess is the same for like damage types, like how blue dragons are connected to this non-existent plane of thunder or lightning, which could be cool to explore. But yeah. Which again, dropping down to kobolds, that's something they could have, which is
honestly, like which is like a thing.
Thunder guys.
I like the idea. I think like kobolds are kind of like that too, where it's like little guy that has like bigger like powers or something like that. I like that.
Yeah, could y'all describe Urds to me? Because I feel like I know what they are, but I'm...
let me double check it. I should know it. I'm playing a character who wanted to be one up until recently.
Yeah, they're basically just like kobolds with like sorcerer powers.
They're a little wizard guy. Oh god, the first edition art is bad.
Oh, it's rough. I was looking at it earlier. I just wanted to see what y'all thought on them, because I've heard mixed things on...
He looks like the moth from SpongeBob.
I love the little pose he's striking. It's like,
Let's see, and oh my lord,
I'm gonna kick your ass.
They lived longer than kobolds. Kobold is a goblinoid. They were created by a god. Fuck off. That's lazy as shit.
A god.
A god. Wow, it's almost like if you paint really boring stories with gods on top that makes them interesting.
Yeah.
Kind of like how Zeus just committed social crimes all the time, and it's really cool and fun to read about.
Zeus put something in someone's caboose.
Yeah, so let me do a what's the word? What's the word? Fucking
Shoot.
abridged. Let me do an abridged version of this from what I can remember. Urds are they are kobolds who are chosen from the time of hatching by a draconic deity or a great dragon in the area who is like, I want that motherfucker to do something kind of cool for me in my name. So they are spawned and they have a few spells. I don't know if they're augmented to what level, but they get the ability to fly and they have natural wings, which kobold inventors will replicate. They'll be like, "Oh, you can do that," and then they'll like strap sticks and leather to their back, and they're like, "I can do that too." Whee! They fly around on fireworks.
Very nice.
I like well, if anything, I
Basically.
like the idea. If anything, I would play around with an Erd in that sense of like, oh, it's just a kobold with wings, and the idea of them casting spells is like literally there is a draconic sorcerer, so the idea is just like,
Yeah,
oh,
like
inherently,
goblin
yeah,
with the
oh, with like no box or something.
no bugs. Yeah,
Yeah, it's like there's like something inherent to them of like deep down that magic potential has been like pulled out kind of thing. So it's
Mhm.
just now I can shoot fireball.
Very nice.
I love that. I think more of them should have that. And like,
Honestly,
I love the because I was going to mention the fiends, like tieflings. They've been
Ooh,
such a weird point of contrition where people are like, oh, well, there's a million different types of tieflings that they need to bring out. And like, what if this ancestry and what does that mean for that person? Because the entry in the 5th edition player's handbook is such ass and it's kind of racist. And it's like everyone hates them. But so they fixed that later. They could do that for kobolds, even though it's not a core player race. They do come from like, what is it, 12, 8, 10 different
a
groups.
ton of dragons.
Yeah, there's a bunch of different dragons, a bunch of different
I
stuff, and they're all just they're nothing.
Yeah,
They're
I
like
kinda
they're
feel-
goblin.
I feel like we talked a little bit about dragons, where it's like I feel like they could do more of them, like they could giant Goliaths instead of only being stone.
Yeah, I like that.
They only
Or
being
I think they're
red just
frost.
feels kind of lame.
Hmm.
I did art. I'd have to look for it, but there was something that I did a while back as just I was playing into it. Mhm.
No,
I-
just something I never really thought about. Super fun to explore
Like-
the idea of like different kobolds.
I played into the idea of like a gemstone kobold, and it was just like this fun thing of like there are-
Fizbins.
this was before Fizbins, but this was a thing where I basically grabbed because I knew gemstone dragons existed. There was the MCDM ones that came out, and I
Amethyst Dragon was in like 2nd edition, I think.
yeah. And I played into like this fucking like ruby kobold idea, but it was just like basically gray skinned stony like kobold with these like gem like protrusions out of their body, and it was just this thing of like, oh, he had like psionic blasts that he could fucking fire at people. It was basically just had a kobold with eldritch blast that could hover over the ground and shit. He didn't have wings or anything. He was just literally like floating around, and it was a neat little encounter.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool. But we are getting toward the end, so y'all know
We're
what
there.
time it is. What are our ratings for kobolds?
Out of 5, right? Or
Yeah, out of 5.
Yeah, 5.
okay.
You can do
give
points,
him a
but
4.
yeah, that's 5.
I'll give him a 4.
All right.
The only reason I won't go for 5 is because I like as neat as I think kobolds are. I feel like goblins fill the niches that I want more, and it's like a
Yeah.
thing of
Yeah.
That's,
I will say because goblins do that so well, and I think we rated goblins around a 5 when we went over them. Kobolds becoming dragons is like a positive and a negative, where it limits them in their lore, but also gives them a lot of opportunities. I like them as being like safer goblins with like inherently unique sort of types. Like you could have mephits, like imps with different elements. You could have them just as a replacement. You could overlap all that. I think if you really delved into them, and we always I always say this at least. Like if you were clever and creative and added onto them, they're an easy 5. I think by default they're like a high 3.
Yeah.
Maybe, I would say 4 overall, just because they're so much fun to play with when you think about them, and I can't not think about them. So I'll give them like a mid 4, almost a 5.
I will say a 3.5 just because for the little guy aspect, I prefer goblins. But there is a lot of fun stuff you could do with kobolds, but I end up pigeonholing them a little bit with dragons because I feel like that's one of the fun things to do with them, which I'll admit is self-inflicted, my fault. I need to branch out and use them in different ways. That was one
I
of
mean,
my
the
goals.
books do too. It's not your fault.
Yeah.
The book just doesn't even mention that they can be.
Yeah, like, but as my plan to go out of my way to actually make a really fun kobold settlement after this, like, that was one of my goals for this video. But
Fuck yeah.
I'm going to say a 3.5 for now, but yeah, I feel like if it even was just they gave a little more variety with the draconic options, like actually
Other
made some
than just-
variety. Because they did have
just
guard
like
drakes,
guys,
but not
wizards.
kobolds. That feels weird.
Yeah, for how many different like draconic sub races there are that they keep introducing. I did a whole video on it. There's like 11 or 13.
Oh yeah.
Kobolds, I love them, and they're like front and center. They haven't done anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not in the new player's handbook, which is stinky.
Boo.
Yeah.
Boo.
Ooh,
Yeah.
I haven't even looked at it.
I've been ignoring it mostly, but I'll probably check it out.
Yeah, I haven't looked at it much.
As with everything, you give it time. You know,
Yeah.
you'll let it swim.
I've been watching some of Jacob's videos on it, but I haven't actually fully delved.
Oh,
into
Jacob
it.
has opinions. He's not just reviewing Reddit. I didn't know.
I don't share the opinions of my coworkers.
I've been trying to cite his channel for inspiration, and there's nothing but Reddit, you motherfucker. Be creative so I don't have to. Please. Piece of shit.
Fucking.
I'm not
I
just
looked at,
trying to
like-
glaze him. I actually have like the last few videos he did on the.
I love that guy.
I feel like he's been really fair with them.
I looked at some of them, like, basically I did look at some of Jacob's videos because I didn't feel like reading. I looked at some of the class stuff, and it is a very mixed bag on certain things where it's just like,
Seemed like
Some
they didn't even
stuff's neat.
update anything.
yeah, a lot of stuff's kind of the same.
Yeah.
Some stuff's neat. Other stuff is also like why.
Yeah,
It's just exhausting. Yeah.
I'm pretty
Can't
much talked
badmouth
about
them.
players, and we're all in agreement that if there's something we all universally like, we'll introduce it in, but we don't plan on
Yeah.
the overhaul.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's going to do like a mesh between the two, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like I don't feel like one. This is like super new and shit, and like not until stuff's like more played out. Will I like try something with it? And on top of that, it's just more like I don't know. It's like I don't really have a reason that like I am not tired of 5e. I am still enjoying 5e.
That's a really good point that I haven't thought about, is that there's no crazy incentive to move over. Like, they're not dropping it. They're not stopping manufacturing copies. And because it is kind of the same, it's like,
It's like
the changes are minor enough.
You reminded me of a video I've been meaning to do that's just what we have right now is literally the Overwatch 2 of tabletop.
a bit, yeah. It's like I don't care. Like, and it's not like they can stop me from playing Overwatch 1 in this scenario. So
My dearest potential friends at D&T Beyond and Wizards of the Coast, this is all alleged. None of this, we're not actually talking about this, and we do love you and the new game that you guys have made, and all the art. The Mexican orcs, it's great. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm excited for what you have.
I love the Mexican orcs. I have many friends that are Mexican orcs. Am I right, Mario?
Yeah.
You fucking orc, you fucking ogre.
You fucking ogre, you fella.
You're a Shrexican.
I'm a Shrexican.
It's only going to get worse. Let's just say.
Hey, get out of my
Can we end it there? I don't like that I said that.